Listen, we got a heck of a show for you today. Our friend Darius Butler has a lot to say about backup quarterbacks. What? Can't wait to get into that. He is our mayor, so we'll get his early thoughts on the Super Bowl matchup. Plus, joining the show, a Cincinnati Bengals rookie sensation, Cam Taylor-Britt. I've never talked to him. Cam Juice. He's got a great personality. What a play made against the Buffalo Bills. Can't wait to dig into it. And yeah, we'll talk a little bit about that Chiefs game. Chiefs, Eagles, Super Bowl 57. Hines, catch up, my man. Red, let's go. I was just thinking about the matchup, Eagles-Chiefs, and of course it's the Eagles and the Chiefs. Like, if you were to think back in August when everybody's making their pleas and their declarations and their Derek Carr is going to lead the league in passing BS that they're saying, like, it's, you know, and I'm talking up the A.J. Brown edition. Of course it's the Eagles representing the NFC. It's the best offensive line. Everybody right in the beginning of the year said it's the best offensive line. We have PFF on as part of our show every week. It should have been that easy to call just then. And Mahomes, of course it's Mahomes going to, another Super Bowl. It's going to happen in less than 2 weeks in Arizona. So here's a fun little thing. Our show is going to Arizona. Super Bowl's always a blast all week long. We'll be there. We'll bring some guests. We'll have some chit-chat, some fun. Low-key, we're building a bar for the morning. What we'll be drinking, I don't know, but we will have that available for anybody that wants to stop by and say hello. And we hope anybody who's around there definitely will do that out in Arizona. But yes, Eagles and Chiefs. So I want to take a second this morning before we really dig into those matchups ad nauseum for the next 14 days or so, take a second to talk about a couple of teams and give thoughts on the Niners and the Bengals, respectively, after their conference championship losses. And I want to start with the Niners. They lose Brock Purdy on his sixth play from scrimmage, okay? And their first game since October. I'm not trying to take anything away from what the Eagles did, but the heartbreaker for this Niners team, I just want to speak to them for a second, and the fan base, just to make it that far, play this well for 3 months, easily I could see them being in the Super Bowl, right? They play super well, keep it going with this young kid taken last in the draft, only to get put into a situation where there is no option. There is no chance. So let's first start with Kyle Shanahan. Niners fans, I feel you. He was asked if this loss was tougher to handle than other playoff exits that he unfortunately has.
I mean, losing feels awful. Yeah, this one was harder. This one was harder. This one was a lot harder, I thought.
Reading between the lines there, I think it was harder because the Niners really felt like, and a lot of people felt like, myself included, they had the best actual team. The most talent, the coaching, the hardware, all of it. To get this far after losing not one, but 2 quarterbacks is phenomenal and really tough and remarkable, but it just felt like this team was destined for more this year. Like, that letdown has to be crazy. And it's one thing to get beat, and it's another thing to have this happen to your quarterback where you are in a situation where you have no control. Looking ahead, though, I don't see a reason why the Niners won't be right back to contend next year. They have been in conference championship games in 3 of the last 4 years. They deserve some credit for that. It's hard to go once, to go that often and always be a contender with quarterbacks and things happening and salary caps and guys being added and removed. This team is loaded. They're going to be loaded with talent. And while we've seen that they can make things work with the talent that they have at quarterback, whether it's Trey Lance coming off a fractured tibia and ankle surgery, Brock Purdy coming off a UCL tear, that's such a bummer. It breaks my heart, honestly, it does for him. You have to wonder if this is going to push the Niners into making a bigger swing. Our guy, Brandon Marshall, disagrees. He says it's Brock Purdy. But listen, Carmen, who I love, Carmen Vitale, a big part of building this show this season, she said, I wonder if this fuels the Tom Brady to San Francisco reasoning even more. Not just the quarterback carousel, but the fact they fell short at all with the roster that's seemingly one player away. I can think of another situation that was like that in 2020, and we all know how that played out. So there are 2 first ballot Hall of Famers, guys, who sit there, who grew up in their backyard dreaming about wearing these colors, about wearing these jerseys, the scarlet and gold one day. And, these guys who must realize they'd be inheriting a ready-made Super Bowl team if they decide, or it works out, that they could go to the Bay. I'm just putting it out there. I think the way things ended could make this especially fascinating for San Francisco. So I would love to hear maybe we can have stats on. I don't quite know what's going on with our show right now, so we're going to get to it in a second. But we got to have stats on, Marissa, to come and sort of wrap things up and talk about it. I'd love some Niners. Should we manifest some Niners to join us? Christian McCaffrey, number one. I would number two. But how about both of them together? I'm really into wherever we are at Super Bowl, having it be like, come sit down with us. Everybody comes. It's not like one person and a car wash. It's sort of a party. Because my favorite thing that happens on our show is when we have, whether it's a Weddle or a Darius Butler, and somebody else pops in, and I don't exist anymore. Just take me away and talk and make my job easy. It's so fun. So my love to all the Niners fans out there. But now let's move to the AFC side of things and talk a little bit about these Bengals. So yesterday I took some time, and I want to get this right. Yesterday was a day for feeling your feelings. It's okay to be emotional. Even if you're wrong about things you're mad at, or if it's not the whole reason or just contributed a little bit to the loss, you're allowed to be frustrated, especially for the day after a loss. But today is the day that we don't do that anymore. Bengals fans, Kansas City's not wrong when they're saying stop whining. Like, we got to turn the page. I refuse personally to let what happened on Sunday night define this Cincinnati Bengals football team. Sports media and sports fandom loves putting things in boxes. There's literally no other group or faction of people that love a label maker more than sports. Sports loves to just print that thing out. They get it. It's a sticker. They put it on, and it's possible to peel off. It is so hard to change narratives once boxes and labels are put on these sort of situations. And that's what we have with the Bills, even though they get a lot of hype because we all know why. But it's hard to do that. So we have to stop this before it starts. This is just the beginning, and it is the beginning of something great. First, the Bengals should be really returning most of that roster next season. If you take a look right here at their pending free agents, there are some things to figure out here. We know Jesse Bates' negotiations did not go well last season. We'll see how that changes this year. Von Bell, Eli Apple have been big parts of the secondary. Hayden Hurst was such a difference maker on third downs this year. Pratt and Pirine, they played pivotal roles at really crucial times as well. So some decisions to be made, but Cincy is going to have a lot of space to do it. With yesterday's announcement, I love that this came out yesterday. This is a salary cap. There's an increase. The Bengals, they're projected, hey, how is this even a thing? They got to pay old Mr. Burrow, though. Okay, you got the Bears, you got the Falcons, you got the Bengals. Third most space in the entire league this offseason, so they should be able to get most of these guys back, although they do have extensions with Burrow and Chase and Higgins. That's all looming on the horizon. Man, they might lose T. If you're a T, you want to get paid. I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. Why am I showing you this? Why am I talking about these numbers? Because we're not going to wallow in officiating and losing. We're turning the page. I want to drive the point home that this Bengals team is not going anywhere. You can take your label maker and shove it, everybody. We saw this season there was no post-Super Bowl letdown. That means something. Since he came back from a Super Bowl disappointment, nobody can do it, nobody can make it happen. They came back better, stronger. And I think this loss to the Chiefs is one of those, you grow from it. You reflect on it. Maybe you do use it for more motivation next season and give out and gift wrap less motivation for other teams next season. And if you're worried about the Super Bowl window closing, please let me remind you of this.
Window's my whole career, and everybody that we have in that locker room, all the coaches we have, things are going to change year to year, but our window's always open.
I have to be honest, I believe him, and I say this as someone who wholeheartedly subscribes to the concept of Super Bowl windows. I'm a big Super Bowl window gal, and I believe in the importance of cashing in on a quarterback when he's on a rookie contract. I don't know anybody that doesn't believe that. So while I believe in that construct as it applies to most teams, I do think there are some exceptions. We saw on the opposite sideline at Arrowhead, making his trip to another Super Bowl after a mega contract cost his team Tyreek Hill, a quarterback, doing it. There's very few that can do it. We witnessed another one up in New England who continued to appear in Super Bowls with a revolving roster of talent. Granted, the Giselle money factor was a thing, and we can get to that in the offseason. We have that guy. That guy exists. That exception, that asterisk, he's in Queen City. Joe Burrow is one of those truly special quarterbacks that transcends a rule that I believe in, that you have to cash in and there's a window. It'll take real smart decision making. That front office, that spotlight, I wouldn't want to be you. That's going to be really tough. But after what I saw this year, I think the Bengals are going to be in the mix for a long time to come with number 9 back there. Let me quickly remind, I don't even think about his rookie season. Gronk comes on the show and I say, what's so impressive to you? He compares Joe Burrow to Brady. That means something. Gronk is saying that, 4-time Super Bowl champion, all with Brady. And he says the fact that in his rookie season, he got so hurt. That injury could have destroyed him. That could be a career-altering injury. That he came back and the next year led his team into a Super Bowl with that offensive line, with getting hit as much as he did. That's the kind of stuff Gronk was talking about. And when Gronk says stuff like that, I really listen, because Gronk's a player who had like one healthy season and played through crazy injuries for the rest of it. And he is a testament to playing tough, playing through stuff, being a leader, seeing all that, and seeing from the best what it takes. Joe Burrow has what it takes. So anybody wanting to say, you're going to be labeled as that team that does okay but never gets there, that's not the case. Also, Ravens fans. What is with Ravens fans? There was a game between the Chiefs and the Bengals. Buffalo Bills fans are good. Which Buffalo Bills fans are loud and chirpy. Nothing. It's the Ravens fans who are taking whacks like a piñata at the Bengals. And I guess it's a division rivalry, and I get that. But like, Ravens, y'all have issues to deal with. Okay, coming up on Up and Adams, Darius Butler will be on the show. Oh my gosh, Cam Taylor-Britt is on the program. I love a little defense talk. Hey, you like Cam Taylor-Britt? But what about that interception? That pass breakup of Gabe Davis? Let's go.
Champions.
Burrow had my ass.
I told y'all when y'all drafted me, we was gonna go to the Super Bowl.
We going back, baby. Sack Nation!
Tough task ahead of them in the Super Bowl in 2 weeks.
Know your role and shut your mouth, you jabroni.
Eli Apple, I'm gonna smoke one for you.
We're going to the Super Bowl.
We're one win away from something that we all dreamed about.
The job's not finished.
Might as well win the whole thing. Let's go.
Let's go, Chiefs. On 3, 1, 2, 3.
I said this before, how could I possibly have a Super Bowl and not root for Sirianni and not want him to be on the biggest stage there is? And voila, he's here. The Eagles and Chiefs hosted their trophies. They danced on the field. They said jabroni. It was insane and so fun. The job is not done, though. We'll see who gets the last laugh next weekend, not this weekend, next weekend in Arizona. So before we do that, we have to check in with somebody I'm very excited to meet in person, a family member, the unquestionable leader of Shutdown City, and a guy who's probably mad that mayors are getting a bad name around here. Mayors are getting a bad name, Darius Butler.
Man, come on. I got to talk to old Cuzzy, man. He stepped out of line. As soon as I saw that, like, let me change my Bengals pick. But it was too late. That was the upset pick I had. But poking the bear, man. Come on, stay in your lane. Shut your mouth, jabroni. I love that.
Oof. I will watch that whenever I'm upset about something. I will just turn that on because Travis was so insane. So here's the thing. Eric Weddle comes on and he says, you shouldn't have to have other people motivate you. And like everyone wants to say, bulletin board material, it doesn't matter. I'm not kidding. Like, I think it helped the Bengals beat the Bills because they were pissed about the refunds and the neutral site game, and that was working them up. And then this happened. Like, it matters, right, Darius?
Yeah, I mean, these coaches, they're kind of, master motivators, and they got to find a way to motivate these teams. I've never been a part of a dynasty, but you watch The Last Dance, you watch things about Tom Brady, like they're always looking for something to feel slighted or feel pissed off about. So when you do give them that extra help, that extra motivation, and I think if the Chiefs do win this Super Bowl, I think they'll officially kind of get in that dynasty category. But, Cincinnati, the players doing the talking, that's one thing, but then the mayor coming out and everybody else, and they're calling it Burrowhead. And obviously that was talked about a lot. You saw Chris Jones mention it. You saw obviously Travis Kelce talk trash about it after the game, after they shut these people up. So I love that, man. Any talking you do, the players got to get out there and back it up. So that's the most important part of it.
So when I covered the Patriots, when I lived in New England, and even just on Good Morning Football or whatever, I would just, I hate that they don't say anything. Their players aren't allowed to talk or like give any bites or anything. And I always just thought like Bill's overreacting. He's trying to control too much. And now the more this kind of stuff happens, I'm like, Bill knows. He gets it. He gets it. Yeah. Any little advantage, any little thing that they might say, Justin Reed to Hayden Hurst, and it's a win or a loss, and that's what matters. You mentioned that you never played on a team
real quick
like
on that, Kay.
Yeah.
So on the flip side of that, the bulletin board material, Belichick and his assistant, I don't even know what his official title is though, Barrett, they have every clippings, every soundbite of every other player, every other reporter locally for the other team, and they make sure some way, somehow that gets in front of the team before we face off on that Sunday. So that was something that's interesting. I don't think a lot of people know about, but Belichick will find any ounce of motivation outside that building to definitely bring it in for his guys.
So what does that mean? He takes, let's say I said it. I was on a show there, and I'm like, Gronk doesn't have it this week. He's hurt, blah, blah, blah. So he's getting that to the tight ends coach to bring up in a meeting? Like, how does this stuff actually play out up there in New England?
It'll be more so because, it's locker room access, all week long for local reporters, especially for the other team. So let's say we're playing the Bengals that week, and stories, players, and it may not be a star player that, what they say is going to hit, the Up and Adam show or some other show, but he'll make sure that clip, that sound bite, whatever, it gets to whoever it needs to hear. And usually it's in front of the whole team. It's in front of the whole team, and it comes. So it's not necessarily someone in the media, but someone, he'll be like, hey, I thought this was interesting. You may just put it up and then just take it off and move on. But it's definitely in that bank of, just once again, just a little extra motivation. It's a championship weekend. Nobody needed any extra motivation from anybody outside of those buildings. It's a ticket to the Super Bowl on the line. So once again, when you take that field Sunday, you got to back up all that trash talking done by you or family members or, even a freaking mayor.
I know, it's true, and we'll get into that a little more. I just think it's really interesting because everything matters, right? Game of inches, we talk about it. The motivation of it matters. DJ Reader came on and said, I heard what Eric Weddle said, and it helped us with what we did up against the Bills. You said we had no chance. Zach Taylor is admitting that he is scraping the internet for any sort of motivation that he can muster. And the losers in all of this are, we're to blame because sports media is perpetuating it and saying, Burrowhead, Burrowhead. But these two squads, I'm telling you, Sirianni's squad and Andy Reid's squad zipped up. I promise you there will be that media night, I just don't see it. I don't see anything trickling out. I don't see any. It would have to take like a Jason Kelce being reckless. He doesn't care. He's a vet. He doesn't, whatever. But I don't think he wants to give the Chiefs anything either. I think it's going to be quiet on both sides.
I think so, too. They got obviously great leaders, great coaches, vets on both sides of the team. Jalen Hurts doesn't do much talking. Patrick Mahomes lets his play do the talking as well until after the game. So these guys, when they take the field, it's obviously going to be – I can't wait. It's going to be a full-blown slugfest. But the Eagles will hear about how everybody outside of that building is doubting their path. Have they been challenged enough? They played the Giants. They played the San Francisco 49ers team without a quarterback for the 3 quarters. So you're going to hear all of those things. And then the Chiefs, who knows what motivation they'll try to find. But I'm sure Andy Reid will figure something out.
Have you ever given bulletin board material, Darius?
You know what? I did way back in the day before Twitter was kind of what it is now. Actually, it was a former Bengals player, Chad Ochocinco. He was talking trash to me, just tweeting me, and he was one of those guys that was kind of ahead of the game. So we're oh, man. Wow. Marissa went actually found it. So we're talking all this trash. We're opening up the season. I'm a second-year corner. Devin McCourty is a rookie corner. It's Chad Ochocinco. It's Terrell Owens. That's the matchup. And we're going back and forth. They're talking about double teaming. I'm telling Chad, hey, we're not double teaming. Nobody's double teamed you in 2-3 years. And that went on kind of throughout the week. And Saturday, after our final walkthrough, Bill Belichick and Barrett comes up to me and shows me a whole printout of all our tweets back and forth, and then fined me. I got fined, actually, for conduct detrimental to the team because I was giving away the game plan. So I guess that was a little bulletin board material. I guess. Not paid for it.
So I would say Bill Belichick is the master motivator. He's got it. He pretends he doesn't know about Twitter and Facetune and FaceTime, whatever he was saying.
Marissa, you got to send me those tweets. How the hell did you find those? Shit, I got to check my history. I might have some things
Marissa is the GOAT. Don't you understand? Marissa's living her best life. Her Eagles are in the Super Bowl. She cannot be stopped, that one.
Yeah,
All right, let's talk about
that
how
was at the
Eagles...
top of our pre-production call email. Fly, Eagles, fly. All right, let's get into the call. I love it.
Wait, did you hear Jalen Hurts trying to sing Fly, Eagles, Fly?
Hey, I didn't like that they put him on the spot. I know I don't know how prevalent fight songs are in the NFL. I played for 3 teams and never had a fight song. I always just see Fly, Eagles, Fly. And I think it was maybe A.J. Brown or somebody tweeted after the game like, hey, I need to learn this fight song. But I thought he nailed it because I didn't know the words. But that was a funny moment, a funny, interesting moment after the game. Brian Dawkins still looks intense.
Who did? Oh, Terry Bradshaw gave him the thing. It's like, Terry, you got to help him out. That was so brutal. I liked how Jalen played it off, though. It was very nice. And it's not, let's see.
I thought he nailed it, okay? Until this very moment, 11:23 Eastern Standard, that's, real American time over here, according to Pat McAfee. 11:23, I'm today years old, and I found out that Jalen Hurts had no clue what the Fly Eagles Fly song was.
I don't know I don't know if the players take that in class. Marissa, were you upset about it?
No, I thought he nailed it.
Marissa said he nailed it, and that's all that matters. And we love them. And maybe he'll learn the words by the Super Bowl, and then he can tell Kevin Hart to get off the podium. Kevin Hart, don't you come up here, Kevin Hart. That's what I'm worried about.
He might be their good luck charm.
Yeah, that's what I'm worried about for the desert. God, that was the funniest clip from that Super Bowl. 2018? Craziest clip. Okay, let's start with the Eagles and how they got there, but the other side. Today we're saying bye. I'm wearing my red for the Niners. We're saying bye to them, goodbye. The Brock Purdy situation, right? He goes down on the 6th play of the game. The Birds take care of business. A very boring game, 31-7. Do you think there's a lesson to be learned here about the quarterback position?
Don't block a guy with 17, 18 sacks coming into the game with a tight end or just not block him at all. That would be number one lesson. And I think for all teams out there, for the sake of all the NFL fans out there, please have 3 quarterbacks dressed up. I don't know who needs to change. Maybe a rule change as far as roster go. Maybe just every team having at least 3 quarterbacks. And we complain so much about the quarterbacks. They get too much praise. They get too much blame. They get too much money sometimes. But we saw in that NFC Championship game, obviously, how important they are. They go down. Josh Johnson goes down. Brock Purdy goes down. And the game is pretty much over. And it's not like they, tripped off the bus and broke a collarbone or something. That was the guys, that fiery defensive front for the Eagles who are on the brink of setting a record with sacks during the season and the postseason. That was them getting after the quarterbacks and knocking them out of the game. That's a violent part of the game. But, blocking scheme, obviously scheme for those guys, and then also have at least 3 quarterbacks. I think those are the lessons to be learned from that one at least.
You got to dress through. I was like, Christian McCaffrey's going to go out here. He's going to come out here and start whipping that thing around. He's warming his arm up. That was crazy. We're talking about motivation. Nick Bosa, nominated for Defensive Player of the Year. Doesn't really show up in the biggest game. Chris Jones, number 95, best game of his life out there up against Joe Burrow. The motivation for a guy like Hassan Reddick, who has been such a monster all year long, doesn't even sniff a nomination for DPOY. He was insane, wasn't he?
He was. He's been insane all year long. And even before getting to Philly, he's had a great career. But I believe this is his best career and kind of led that front who, 4 guys over with double-digit sacks. Hassan Reddick, has led that charge from the jump. He's just a dog. And I don't know if I think he did speak about it a little bit. Maybe that was a little added motivation. And with these finalists, somebody's going to get left off. But he showed once again he's deserving of to at least be a final or to sniff that award. But he showed up in the biggest moment in the biggest games, and I think he'll do that again out there in Glendale.
Ooh, we'll have to see. And on the other side, then in the AFC, Dante Hall was on yesterday. I asked him what was most impressive about Patrick Mahomes, and he said his grit. It's just his grit. Now we've seen crazy stuff out of Mahomes, but he's limping. 1 ankle, losing receivers left and right. Where does this rank in Patrick Mahomes' performances?
I mean, he's had so many amazing, incredible performances. This ranks right up there. I'd probably say 2 or 3, honestly. But that was heroic. Was the last thing that comes to mind. Even to the last play when he ran for that last first down. Obviously, got pushed out of bounds late. But his receivers going down. Not knowing if Kelsey was going to be banged up. Him. Even practicing all week long leading up to this game after suffering that high ankle sprain, unbelievable job by that athletic training staff, unbelievable job by Patrick Mahomes and whatever Wolverine blood he got flowing through him. But he just went out there and he's gritty, man. And you look at these teams, you look at these 2 Super Bowl matchups, and everything points to the Eagles, right? Offensive line, defensive line, the skill positions. The quarterback is right there. Obviously Mahomes will be the MVP this year. I think Jalen Hurts will be right there second. But it's so hard to really feel confident betting or picking against Patrick Mahomes. So he's just special. That was right up there with one of his best performances for sure. Just right with Dante Hall, gritty.
It's true. And then you look at the Eagles, the thing that sticks out, it's that offensive line. They are running people over. They are so good. Lane Johnson looks better than ever. He's looking like, he's in his prime years, ready to go. But then you have this game record, 95 on the other side. What?
No, I'm saying he's playing through a torn groin right now. You talk about gritty.
It's crazy.
Tore his groin, retore it. I mean,
I call him the in-betweenies. I don't like the word groin. I call him just in-betweenies. He tore his in-betweenies. That's what I call him, Darius.
Whatever you want to call it, it hurts. I'm telling you, at whatever position you're playing, especially when you're trying to anchor against, those big, strong guys. And you mentioned Chris Jones, who absolutely dominated. With as amazing as Patrick Mahomes' performance was, I think Chris Jones was the MVP of that game. But the Eagles do have, I believe, the best starting offensive line across the board in the NFL. Starting with Jason Kelsey in the middle, then you got the big tackles on the outside and the guards. Everyone does their job. I think they'll have a plan for Chris Jones. Frank Clark, I think, will have to put his cape on and kind of be Superman to kind of give them the edge when it comes to those defensive and offensive lines. But, the Eagles have been special, and it starts in the trenches. When Nick Sirianni took this job, that was the first thing he looked at on both sides of the ball, the trenches, offensive line and on the defensive line. Obviously, Fletcher Cox. Brandon Graham, who's been there forever, should be a comeback player of the year conversation, who had that strip sack against Tom Brady the last time. And that was pretty much the only turnover in that game, I think, that I can remember that Brandon Graham had late in that game. So that's where games are won and lost, in those trenches. And Eagles are in a very good spot there.
I was obviously just messaging people on the Eagles. It's so exciting. And the fact that they're doing it with another new quarterback, new regime, but some of those OG, like Brandon Graham, he's like, I can't believe we're going again. I can't believe this is happening. It's really, really exciting, and it's hard to not cheer for them. But I can't cheer for any mayor but you. You're the only mayor. I love that. You know what? I don't know the name of the mayor of Cincinnati. I love that Travis Kelce also does. Nobody knows the mayor of Cincinnati because nobody wants to know. Nobody's asking, what's his name? No, it's that Cincinnati mayor, Joe Ray. All right, take me to Shutdown City.
He'll forever be known by that. I'll forever be known by the mayor of Shutdown City. We got a bunch of rookies in here who will help shut that mayor up, starting with Trent McDuffie, first-round pick. He had to go into the slot and play a lot because Jerry Sneed went out. He banged himself up in that first drive, and one of the best DB on that secondary. But he went out, Trent McDuffie stepped in, 2 PBUs, played great, especially as a rookie, to get thrown in there late, not knowing against a team like the Bengals. Huge, great job by him. Secondly, Joshua Williams. Now, a little more expectations there, obviously, than the next guy who will be the mayor, but Joshua Williams got a nice pick on some tips and overthrows. This is something that DB coaches talk about around the league going into every week, tips and overthrows. You got to get those. Great job by another rookie, Joshua Williams, and then another rookie who no one had expectations for coming into this season, Jalen Watson. Back-to-back games now with 2 huge picks in games. So 7th-round pick coming in and making the biggest games in the biggest plays in the biggest game of his life. He's going to be the mayor. But all 3 rookies from the Chiefs, they are. So we got a lot of young guys running around the city right now. But they hold it down, man. So shout out to all of these young guys who showed up in the biggest moments, unlike, that other mayor out there in Cincinnati.
We don't talk about that, Mayor, but we love those rookies. Brett Veach, I said it going into it. He has done such a good job. These youngsters making game-changing plays. We've got another young guy that has been on your list, wants to be on your list, and he's going to get there next year. One of the most confident rookies I have seen. Huge play against the Bills to get to the AFC Championship game. We will say bye to you, Darius Butler. Yeah, Cam Taylor-Britt, Cam Juice, joining us after this. Here he is. What a year. Our next guest, I'm so excited to get to meet here and bring to you on Up and Adams. He is a defensive superstar in the making. He didn't even get to start when he started this rookie season. This Bengals team traded up to get him. He's a rookie for the Bengals. Please welcome to the show, Cam Taylor-Britt. Hey, Cam.
Thank you. How you doing? I'm good.
I'm so good. Now, is it Cam or Cam Juice? Because I don't think I can pull off saying Cam Juice. Tell me about what that juice means to you.
Yeah, the juice means a lot, man. I feel like, I bring that to my game and to the team. That was one thing that I could do while I was on IR is bring the juice on the sideline and make sure my teammates were always, into the game. And anytime someone was wrong, I just tried to be there for them.
I mean, and this is no joke right here. And then you have Momager and your dad you call Pops Juice.
Oh yeah, they're my people, man. My mom is my A1 day one. Pop Juice, yeah, he has that name forever.
So let's talk about the IR situation. Yeah, there we go. And with the advice that they gave you, because there's all of these shots that we were seeing while you were on IR, and every Bengals fan is like, I want to see him. I want to see him out on the field, and it's a major setback. Let me tell you, all of the greats that I talk to, they say that those moments they make them great. They'd say, I'm going to turn this into my advantage. I'm going to sit back and learn. So when you look back now, after you're making these big plays on these big stages, what was that experience like, and how did you use your time to make yourself a better player?
Honestly, I just used that time to make sure that, I had that playbook down pat. And when I did get the opportunity to get in the game, when I got off IR, that, it wouldn't be a downfall. I knew that I'd be in rotation or anything, but, when Cheeto got hurt, I was thrown in the fire. So I was glad that I was, on my P's and Q's and, just trying to be the best person that I could be, while on IR, so that was the biggest thing for me.
Cam, what did you learn about yourself during that period? And I love that I read that you said that your parents were really supportive of you then.
One thing I learned about myself, just being a great teammate, that's a big thing to me. That's one thing that I try to do, on the field and off the field. Anybody needs something, while we're off the field, I just try to be there as well because we're brothers at the end of the day. You should be able to call on me anytime.
So you get off IR, you focus on the playbook, you get out on the field, y'all get into the playoffs. A lot of things were messy, not really for you, for the Bengals. We're not going to get into that. And then you go up to Buffalo. It's snowing. You're a Nebraska boy. You're used to the cold elements.
Yeah.
All-time moment for Bengals fans. It's living in their heads. They're going to tell their kids about it. Talk me through your first career interception against this Bills team. Let's take a look. Talk me through it.
All right.
Do we have it?
Well, honestly,
There we go.
I believe we're in cover two, man. Just wanted to keep, safeties high and kind of run the rail on the outsides as a corner. One thing that Josh did struggle with was the cover two. So I just wanted to kind of bait him. And I didn't think he was going to throw the ball. But, at the end of the day, he trusts his arm, more than he trusts the DB making the play. And, when I saw the ball, I was like kind of shocked that he threw it. I was like, oh, it's time to make a play. And I laid out for it. And when I caught the ball, it was just, surreal that, my parents were there. It was a crazy game, in a big way. So, I was glad that, that I was able to seal that.
You're smiling as you catch the ball. You see all of your teeth. I've never seen that. Do you remember what you were thinking? Were you thinking, I can't believe he threw that?
Yeah, and I was like, I really caught this ball in this game. Last year around that time, I was watching, the NFL football games, not knowing where I would be, and just to have the opportunity to, be on that field and be around the guys, it was a happy moment. because I literally just said on the sideline, I was like, I got to end the game. Go ahead and end the game. You know, we're playing around with it too much. Let's go and get off the field and, you know, get this over with. Go back to Cincinnati with the dub. And he threw the ball. It happened. And they were like, you just said this. I was like, yeah, it's crazy.
And you had, and I love that your parents were there. I didn't know that. You had this PBU in this game. I love Gabe Davis, but it was, I heard it. It was crazy. You play, honestly, like, Cam, you play a real physical game you don't see at your position. It reminds me a little bit of Marlon Humphrey. Nobody ever wants none from prime Marlon Humphrey. What happens to you out there? What is that switch that flips?
Man, I've always been that physical guy, even while playing quarterback on the opposite side of the ball. Just kind of want to bring that to the game. A lot of corners, you know, don't bring that to the game. When you mention the physical part of it, yeah, you bring up the covering part, you can bring up, you know, a few guys most definitely. But just being on the outside and setting the edges and, you know, wanting to tackle, I want to bring that to the run game, of course.
Yeah, we love seeing it. It's something that nobody out there wants to see. Here's my question. You're on IR, so you have a minute, you're sitting back, you're learning the playbook, all of that. And now you're warming up in the snow in Buffalo for this game or in Kansas City ahead of the AFC Championship game. Do you feel so much more comfortable? Like, talk me through a rookie and what you felt like that first game, that first couple of games, that first start when you got some action to what you feel like now and how you're going to carry that over. How much more comfortable do you feel, Cam?
That was a big, you know, jump, you can say, from my very first game, playing the Falcons game, rotating, playing most of those snaps that game. So I can say I had the jitters, you know. I wasn't, quick as I am now with calls. You know, I was looking around, you know, just want to play fast and play top down. But just now I'm way more comfortable and I'm getting the calls out. Sometimes before the safety does, if I see it, I'm able to call it out and, you know, just, you know, go out there and play free. I'm not thinking about everything, not a half second late because I thought this was called or this or that. So, you know, just be able to move, you know, a lot faster and get out my breaks faster because I know what's going on and know where my help is on this defense. You know, I don't have to work as hard.
Yeah, it's so funny to hear. I did not think that you were going to say that you had the jitters because everything that I know or I think I know or I read, all of your coaches, all of your teammates say you are the most confident rookie. Like you just have confidence. And that's at your position. I can't even imagine. That's maybe one of the most important qualities you have to have. Where does that come from?
Like I said, I played quarterback, man, and I kind of, you know, just carried my life, you know, that way, having that high attitude like a quarterback has and carries itself, but, you know, kind of throw the spice on it with the attitude part and the physical part as a DB. That's where it kind of comes from. I just feel like, you know, my preparation is a lot better than yours, and I put in the work just like you put in the work, and I feel like once we step on this field, you can't mess with me. So that's how it kind of goes with me.
Well, they're lucky to have you. And, you know, you're confident and you've got that spice or juice or whatever you want to call it. But you also have a heart, Cam, so you can't even hide that from me. This moment that you had in Kansas City where you pulled, by the way, I would be so scared. You straight pulled him out of the stands where the parents like, excuse me.
Nah, so I actually knew him from Nebraska. So I've known him, Chase, since he was like 2 years old. I watched him grow up through, you know, his lifetime at Nebraska. So while I was number 5, he had the Taylor-Britt, you know, 5 jersey at Nebraska, and this was his first NFL game. So it was a good moment for both of us, man, just to see him grow up and, you know, still continue to support me throughout this time.
I loved seeing it. It was such a cute moment. And then after, there's this hard loss that happens, a hard loss that I think this team's going to get better from. You know, I support the Bengals. It was such a good season, so much to build off of. Almost everybody will be able to come back. I'll just ask you, how are you feeling? Like, I know it's still very fresh, but like, what are the feelings that you're having?
I feel good, man, especially, you know, just ending this season off, you know, that the way that we did. You know, of course we didn't get the win, but, you know, just having the opportunity to be in this locker room with these specific guys, you know, it never would be the same. A lot of guys said this in their interviews, man. It's you've never been a part of a locker room like that, you know, just that tight knit, and even outside of the football, you know, is you have guys texting you trying to see what you're doing just to hang out, man. Like, it's a different feeling, you know, being around these guys, and I wouldn't trade it for the world.
I love hearing that. DJ Reader popped on last week, and, you know, he spent a lot of his career with the Texans. They didn't have much success, and he said the difference really is that locker room. Everybody's saying, want to play chess, want to hang out, want to do this, checking in with each other. What was the message, or what I know it was probably a bad vibe in that locker room after the game, but what was the message from the veterans, from coaches, as you guys left?
Honestly, that we will be back. We know what we need to do to get back. We won, 10 or 11 games in a row. That's a huge mark for the Bengals. And, you know, as this team, it shows, you know, something about us. So, you know, one thing that we will have to do when we come back in is get straight to work. We plan to have these long seasons, you know, every year, and plan to make it, you know, past where we just were. So we have to, you know, prepare for that and, you know, stay on top of it.
You were drafted by the Bengals in the second round. They moved up to get you. It was weirdly something with the Bills, too, so that's sort of weird because you guys got the win over them. You're saying everybody's friends in there. You got to go up against Chase and Higgins every day. Are y'all friends? You guys get along?
Yeah.
How much better do they make you?
Made me a lot better, man. Yes, we are friends. We try to hang out here and there, you know, outside of the stadium. But, you know, just while we're in that building, you know, we're working. It's always, you know, competition at the end of the day, and we want to make each other better. Those guys give me tips all the time, you know, what I can do better, you know, in my press man, or, you know, getting out the break, what was I doing here in order for him to, you know, be open. They always, you know, just keep me on my P's and Q's, because those guys are some of the top guys in the league.
Who do you want one-on-one next year? We were looking at, we have a meeting, like you guys, we have a meeting before the show, and we were looking at some of those receivers. You probably haven't seen this, so let me tell you. Justin Jefferson, Cooper Kupp, DK Metcalf, DeAndre Hopkins, Stephon Diggs, Deebo Samuel. Y'all are facing all of them next year.
I like
Who you want? Who you want, Taylor-Britt?
I want them all. It doesn't matter. I love following the top guy. That was one thing that we did when we played the Bills. So I followed Stephon. That was the first game that, you know, they trusted me to, you know, actually, you know, and follow a guy wherever he was on the field. You know, once he hit the slot, you know, I didn't get a chance to guard him then, but, you know, if he switched sides, you know, I wanted the best guy on the field. And I want to continue to do that. So all the guys that you name, I plan to guard all of them. I'm excited to guard them as well.
Stephon out there talking to you in that snow? What was Stephon like? Stephon, he'll talk.
He was talking more crying than anything, but, you know, it was all right.
Taylor, I don't know what to say. I'm just going to leave that one alone. Well, listen, because you let your game speak for you're very confident, but I mean, and I know that you're from. I know your boys with that. Eli Apple's tweeting. You were gassing him up though. I didn't need that, Taylor, but you got to help me. Like, I saw you with the tweets, and then you got Hilton with the brother. Like they got to be a little more like you, I think.
It was kind of weird though, because while we were on the sideline in the Bills game, when Mike said Burrowhead, I didn't know he said Burrowhead. I thought he said, you know, we're going to Arrowhead, and, you know, that's what it was going to be. Then when I saw the video, I'm like, oh, I'm in this viral video saying, you know, let's go to Burrowhead and this and that. I didn't know what was said, but, you know, that didn't play a part in anything, man. We just got to go up there, you know, and play our game, come in there and play a complete football game as a team, and, you know, just don't worry about the other outside noise.
Yeah. Eli Apple, we gotta change his password somehow on that thing.
Yeah.
You with me? Help me help you, sort of thing. He's misunderstood though. I can tell everybody likes him on the team.
Man, he's very misunderstood, man. He has a passion for the game that you don't see out of a lot of guys, and he wears it on his sleeve, man. I wouldn't play, you know, wouldn't want to play without him, you know, on that field. He kind of, you know, I bring a different energy, and he has his other energy, and he kind of, you know, just works for the team, man. And when he says, you know, you're doing good, man, it kind of pushes him to be great. He's been doing this for a long time. So, you know, let a rookie come in, you know, and be on his A game. He doesn't have a choice but to be on his. So, you know, I feel like I kind of pushed him to, you know, become better throughout the season. He's always been great to me as far as giving me tips. Outside of football, we were just playing the game last night. We were talking about football, so He'll always be my guy.
I love to hear that because I do think he's misunderstood, and I'm glad that you said that. That's really important. It's Cam juice and apple juice. One last question before I let you go. This has been a lot of fun. What is more difficult, getting a pick off of Burrow in practice or winning a game of chess against him?
Oof. Might be winning the game of chess. It might be winning the game of chess. I know I could probably get him by bailing or something, and maybe just running through the whole route because he throws a tight ball, man. Just seeing the ball that he makes in practice are crazy, and then he goes into the game where we're sitting on the sideline. We're like, yep, we've seen that one in practice. So it's just crazy, man, just the way he spins the ball, man. But chess, I don't know about that. We might get me.
Yeah, I hear he's really good. I'd like to play him. Okay, listen, you are an absolute stud. Do not listen. When all these things start happening to you, Cam Taylor-Britt, because I already know. When all the Pro Bowl, and then it's going to be all pro, Cam Taylor-Britt, and then just don't forget about little old me, okay? That's all I need. When you're locking up Debo and Cooper Kupp.
Yeah, that won't happen, I promise. I got you.
Okay, we appreciate you. Keep getting better. Incredible story. Could not be happier for you. And you have the absolute right attitude. Confidence, and let's go get this thing next year.
Yes, ma'am. I really appreciate you having me on here.
No problem. Anytime. Cam Taylor-Britt, everybody. Cam Juice, future All-Pro, future Pro Bowler for the future Super Bowl winning Bengals, baby. We'll be back after this on Up and Adams. Welcome back to the Up and Adams Show. Eli Apple gets a bad name. He's misunderstood. That's said by Cam Taylor-Britt, who I'm a huge fan of. I want to be like the 4-year-old boy, Chase, that has a jersey of him in the stands. They will not be at the Super Bowl. We will be at the Super Bowl. Marissa, we got to go. We got big plans tonight.
Oh, we do.
We have a date with Jane Fonda and Tom Brady. We're being very Hollywood tonight, Marissa and I, because Richard isn't sending us to the Pro Bowl. So thank you so much. FanDuel, we love you. There's a new commercial with me and Gronk. Gronk on later this week.